Alright guys, how's it going? Welcome back. Well, now that we're officially in winter and the mercury is dropping by the day, I thought I'd do a video on what I consider to be one of the best budget 4x4s you can buy, the Daihatsu Terios. Here is a proper rugged 4x4 with permanent four-wheel drive, good ground clearance, but crucially it has the running costs of a small hatchback. The Terios has been around since 1997 when it replaced the boxy Sport Track. In case you wondered, the name Terios comes from an old Greek word which, when roughly translated, means making dreams come true. I'm not so sure about that. Unless, of course, it's your absolute dream in life to be able to get up a dirt road in a very narrow 4x4. Who knows? It might be. It isn't mine, but we're all different, aren't we? The first generation Terios ran from 1997 until 2006, and if I'm brutally honest, it's quite a peculiar looking thing. It looked like a blown up Japanese K car. It was a bit tragic looking. However, when Daihatsu launched the second generation in late 2006, things started to get better. I genuinely like the look of this. It still retains its innocent, non-threatening looks, but it just looks more stylish. I think it's a much better design. I like how this appears to be chunkier. I also like the two-tone paintwork and the flared arches. I also like how its spare wheels mounted on the back door like a proper old-fashioned 4x4. You don't see that much nowadays. That has its benefits inside, of course, because it gives you a much bigger boot. Big enough, in fact, for your weekly order from HelloFresh. These segways are just getting smoother and smoother, aren't they? I've mentioned HelloFresh in previous videos, but for me they've been an absolute game changer. There's no more worrying what you're going to have for dinner and then traipsing around supermarkets in the rain and then feeling guilty because you haven't bought your bag for life, only to then go home and burn it all anyway. All of that has been consigned to the history books. Since I've been using them, I've been eating quick to prepare, delicious meals. And it also helps with portion control. They seem to give you the exact right amount, which means that I've managed to keep off the 3 stone that I lost last year. All you do is order what you'd like to eat for the coming few days, and you can choose from lots of really tasty, interesting dishes. Dishes which you'd never dream of making for yourself. And then it all gets delivered to your door, along with the recipe cards and instructions, all at a reasonable cost. Recipes start at just £3.15 per serving, so it's really good value. It's especially good for large families or groups of friends who don't want to waste too much time or money cooking. With the World Cup about to start, there are even quick meals which can be knocked up during half time. Why go to a crowded bar and get drinks spilled down you when you can cook something delicious from the comfort of your own home? It's a no-brainer. It's just really easy and convenient. All you do is subscribe to them, choose the meals you'd like to eat, and then a box from HelloFresh arrives on your doorstep full of fresh ingredients and instructions. If you'd like to try it, you can get 50% off your first box, plus 35% off for the following 3 months, plus 3 free gifts. All you need to do is click the link below in the video description and use the promo code HighPCorsos50. Right, back to the trusty Terios. One thing I've noticed about the Terios is that they're really popular all over the world. When I did some research, they're sold all over the place, but usually under different names and badges. It's known as the Toyota Rush, and I think the Avanza, also the Bigo in Japan, and even a Perodua Nautica. I think there are some more as well which I've forgotten. Honestly, it's had more name changes than Cheryl Cole. It isn't hard to see why these are popular all over the place either. They're just really trusty, dependable, plucky. They use permanent four-wheel drive and a lock-in diff. This is the real deal, even if it might not look it. I think what this is then is a no-frills 4x4 for people who actually need a 4x4. It isn't a pathetic grey crossover used only by school-run mums and Motability scammers. I'm thinking of the Nissan Duke there, in case you're wondering. In fact, the more you think about it, if you actually need a four-wheel drive, you don't really need much more than this. Unless, of course, you plan on towing, in which case the Terios isn't for you. There's no diesel motor, and this 103 horsepower 1.5 petrol engine isn't exactly the torquiest of motors. And 0 to 60 takes over 12 seconds. 12. It's probably best if you think of the Terios as a 5-door Jimny. In fact, Suzuki should have made one of those, shouldn't they? Anyway, that's a debate for another day. It's actually quite similar to the Jimny. It's similar to drive, and it's a very similar width. The ride is also very Jimny-esque. It's quite bouncy and firm. It's also only a 5-speed manual, not a 6, so if you plan on doing lots of motorway journeys, then this probably isn't the car for you. At 70 miles an hour, all you can hear is the engine droning and droning and droning. There was a 4-speed auto as well, but that's even worse on motorways. But I mean, for round town and up and down hills and speeds of up to 50 miles an hour, it's perfectly fine. It does feel like an old-fashioned 4x4 in that you have to drive it. It requires input from the driver. Nothing's automated like most modern crossovers. On the bright side, it isn't quite as fidgety as a Jimny. There's not much body roll either. It also feels a bit wider inside than a Jimny, so you won't be nudging elbows with your passenger. Overall, the interior space is pretty good. We've already discussed the boot space, but in addition to that, there's enough space for 5 people, 4 of whom could be 6-foot adults. There is plenty of space in the Terios, which is surprising really for a car with such a small footprint. What's more, there's plenty of storage, a decent sized glove compartment, door pockets, 2 cup holders, although they are shockingly shallow. You even get somewhere for your sunglasses. Not that I'll need them today because it is another miserable day in the northwest. Big puddle coming up. Oh yes. I mean, what more could you need? Overall, everything feels quite durable and well built, and even after 16 years, everything still works. The seating position is very good. You sit up nice and high so you can see clearly all around you. It's very manoeuvrable too, and the steering's quite light. On top of that, the engine, gearbox and electrics are very reliable, so they shouldn't give you a minute's trouble. Fuel-wise, it should do about 35 miles per gallon on average, so it's no worse than a petrol Ford Focus. Although here in the UK, the road tax is quite high. 12 months will set you back £330. Still, that's not as bad as most four-wheel drives from this era though, which are in fact double that. Used prices here in the UK start at around £2,500, but there aren't many of them out there. Most are 5-speed manuals, but some are 4-speed autos, but they command a premium, and they're rarer still. Granted, the little Terios isn't for everybody, but I know lots of narrow country roads, especially around here, where you just couldn't go in a Range Rover, and yet you can in the tiny Terios. There are a couple of negatives though before you rush out to buy one. The first is rust. This is often the case with Japanese cars. I've had dozens of Terioses over the years, and I don't think I've ever had a single one which didn't need some welding for its MOT. So that's definitely something to bear in mind. Also, because Daihatsu pulled out of Europe about a decade ago, ending 30 years of business on the continent, parts aren't exactly easy to come by. Standard service items are fine, that's not the issue, but you try finding a wing mirror or a piece of trim or a parcel shelf, they're just not there. Anyway, there you go, the Daihatsu Terios, making dreams come true since 1997. Or not, as the case may be. Well, thank you once again for watching. Make sure you give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't done already. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I'll leave the link below. If you've got any comments or questions, let me know below and I'll do my best to get back to you. Don't forget to check out HelloFresh. I'll leave the link below in the video description, and don't forget to use the promo code HighPeakAutos50 for your discount. So yeah, cheers guys, I'll see you next time.